You know what they are saying about you. Do not be deceived. The voices around you are not mere opinions. They reflect a reality you try to ignore. If there were clarity, you would not be paying attention to the words of others. If there were self-knowledge, the criticisms would have no weight. If there were firmness, there would be no need for external validation. It is uncomfortable, but the truth is this: external perceptions are echoes of your own transformation. People observe, comment, judge, react. And you listen, doubt, reflect, question yourself. There is no mystery in what is happening. There is a pattern that repeats itself. You call this feedback because confronting it as noise would require facing your insecurities. The opinions persist because you allow them to, not because they are absolute truths, but because you let yourself be influenced. Those who are certain do not seek confirmation. Those who are at peace are not bothered by what others think. What is said about you does not define who you are. It defines how you deal with it. When you feel secure, there is no need to listen to the crowd. The rest is just a distraction. If you strive to please, you have already lost authenticity. If you need to fight against labels, you have already been put into a box. You are not bound by opinions. You need to decide what truly matters. The plain and simple truth is this: nothing changes as long as you are at the mercy of others' views. You remain visible, but not truly seen. Continuing to be available for others' comments is accepting that your value is tied to external perception. You do not need more validation. You do not need more explanations. You need to decide what truly matters in your life. There is no comfort in this process. There is only the choice to free yourself from the ties you allowed to exist. Reality has already been presented. You know that the words of others are not impartial. They come laden with intentions, frustrations, and personal fears. What they tell you is more about them than about you. It is a distorted reflection in the shadows of others' insecurity. When someone criticizes, the echo of those words resonates within you. You allow these voices to occupy your mental space, like unwanted tenants who don't pay rent. You make concessions, you adapt. What should just be noise becomes a score that plays in your mind, and you dance. There is a cycle in this process. The other points out flaws, you absorb them. The other says, "It's not like this," you hesitate. The pattern confirms itself. Every comment turns into a small blow. Every criticism affects your self-esteem. And you? You await the next appearance, seeking answers from those who don't even know the depth of your being. It is uncomfortable to face the truth. You've already realized that the more you seek approval, the further you get from yourself. Authenticity fades away like water through your fingers. You try to please, and in the act of pleasing, you lose yourself. The result? A diluted version of who you really are. A shadow walking attentively to the reactions of the world around. Small interactions become battles. You feel the pressure of others' gaze like heavy armor. Every forced smile, every disguised compliment is a reminder that you must keep up appearances. This struggle consumes energy. It is a futile wear that results in a vicious cycle of need. If you don't cut these ties, you will remain surrounded by expectations that do not belong to you. You are in a maze where the walls are built with unmeasured opinions. You don't need more time to understand this. Time only reinforces the invisible prison. The chains are tied to your own need for acceptance. When you decide to free yourself, pain comes. Do not be mistaken. Freedom requires courage. Courage to let go of what others think. It is necessary to face the reality that many who criticize do not even understand what it is like to be in your shoes. Vulnerability is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it brings authenticity. On the other, it can expose you to wounds you do not wish to open. What is at stake is your ability to redefine yourself. Every time you refuse to let others' opinions guide your decisions, you take a step towards freedom. But you also confront internal doubt. That voice that says maybe, just maybe, they are right. This is the hardest battle, and this is where true transformation happens. You want to be seen, but you don't need approval. You begin to realize that there are people who will see your value regardless of social expectations. Those who care about who you are, not who you appear to be. Genuine presence requires no effort. It simply is. You have to decide what truly matters. What brings peace to your being? Which voices do you choose to hear? When you focus on your essence, on your truth, others' opinions lose weight. They become distant echoes, memories of a battle not worth continuing. The path to this liberation is not linear. There is no manual. There is only the choice to let go. Remember that there is no success without confrontation. and no growth without pain. Absolutely no one has the power to define your story. Only you. External voices will continue to exist. You cannot silence them, but you can decide if you will let them shape your narrative. What matters is how you respond. And today, choosing to stand firm is the first step to rise again. Look at yourself without the world's stigmas. What do you see? That reflection is you, not the opinions swirling around you, and that vision should be your compass. Do not let yourself be carried away by the current of judgments. Reality has been presented. The choice to assert yourself is completely yours. From now on, the decision is in your hands. That reflection is you, not the opinions that swirl around you. And this vision should be your compass. The choice to assert yourself is completely yours. But what happens when the weight of external expectations starts to dissipate? What emerges once the fog lifts and clarity comes into view? You begin to realize that freedom has a cost. It's not just about letting go of the ties, but also about facing the void they left behind. The absence of what used to familiarly surround you. In that gap, uncertainty screams. It echoes in every corner of your mind, whispering doubts you were already trying to silence. The references you once had are replaced by a new responsibility, that of rediscovering your own voice. This new journey is not easy. Each step requires courage. You no longer sail in shallow waters. With the absence of external validation, you dive into the depths of your being. And there at the bottom you find solitude. Not the kind of solitude that weighs you down, but the solitude that provokes. It is a space where you can finally look at your weaknesses, at your flaws. What used to be a burden now transforms into material for self-construction. Looking inward is an act of bravery. You confront naked truths, fears, insecurities, forgotten dreams. Each of them awaits recognition, an invitation to reflection. This immersion can be paralyzing. At times you hesitate, you want to go back. The surface seems more comfortable, but if you remain in the bubble of external certainties, you will never know how deep your own value is. The voices that once dominated your reality start to become just a distant echo. The sharp comments lose their ability to hurt. You learn that pain does not come from what others say, but from how you interpret those words. And when insecurity transforms into confidence, the world around you changes. You observe different expressions. Reactions become irrelevant. Judgment becomes just a fleeting shadow. You become an observer of life instead of a victim of circumstances. True power lies in your ability to choose how to respond, but make no mistake. This process is not linear. One day you feel strong, the next, vulnerable. It's a cycle. Sometimes you fall back into the old trap of seeking approval, looking around and feeling the need to fit in. This impulse is human, and it is perfectly normal. The difference lies in how you rise after each fall. Each time you refuse to act based on the opinion of others, you rebuild yourself. Like a cooled metal, you reappear stronger. When someone says something negative, you listen, but you do not absorb it. You observe the criticism and decide whether it deserves your time and energy. Often you realize that those words come from a place of personal frustration. You understand that many are fighting their own battles. The game changes when you truly see the people around you, each one carrying their own ghosts, their own insecurities. And then, compassion arises, not just for them, but mainly for yourself. You do not need to carry the weight of collective expectations. Your journey is unique, and your truth is not a reflection of what others think. As you move forward, new relationships form. They are based on authenticity, not masks. You attract people who are not afraid to be who they are, who do not need approval. There is comfort in this connection. Dialogue flows freely. There is respect for individuality, a mutual recognition of everyone's effort to remain true to themselves. In this new space, you realize that vulnerability is an ally. It's not a synonym for weakness, but a sign of courage. The willingness to show yourself raw, without filters. You start to share parts of yourself that you had long kept hidden. That hidden talent, that forgotten passion. You allow yourself to be seen, not under the light of expectations, but for who you truly are. However, be aware, the path of authenticity can be lonely. Not everyone will understand or accept this new version of you. Some relationships may fall apart. Those that were never genuine will be left behind. This is not a loss. It is an alignment. What no longer serves you is removed, and space is opened for what truly matters. Then you breathe, feel the lightness. Every step taken towards this true self is an act of resistance. You are creating your narrative. From now on, you no longer wait, you act. Reality has already been presented, and the choice, once again, is in your hands. You realize that lightness is not the absence of weight. It is a new way of carrying your truths, a burden that becomes a shield. You have found a fragility that doesn't need to be hidden, but presented, and by doing so you realize that there is strength in vulnerability. This is a paradox, opening yourself up to the world and discovering that you are not as alone as you thought. Other voices that once echoed become a distant murmur. Now you start to hear the notes of your own melody. The symphony that was muffled by the clamor of others finally gains space. But this new territory comes with its challenges. Connecting with your essence may lead to the pain of facing parts of yourself that have been ignored for a long time. The fear of disappointing others still resonates. Sometimes the desire to please lurks at the edges of your consciousness like a familiar shadow. And you hesitate. A part of you desires to return to the safe place of conformity, where expectations are clear and criticism predictable. But now you know that conformity is not freedom. What seemed safe is just a camouflaged prison. Looking back, you see past mistakes not as failures but as lessons. Every stumble was a step toward authentic truth. You start to realize that every relationship, every interaction, was a learning opportunity, even if it involved pain. However, there is an emotional cost. As you move away from what no longer serves you, some people around you begin to distance themselves as well. This provokes a strange sense of mourning. Not for the lost company, but for the idea that you had to choose between your truth and acceptance. It's hard to accept that not everyone will be ready to celebrate your transformation. Some relationships are built on what you represent, not who you really are. In breaking these ties, you feel loneliness, but it is a constructive loneliness, a space where you can finally breathe without the pressure of expectations. On this journey, you find new allies. They are those who have already walked similar paths. With them, conversations flow naturally. There is understanding in failures, acceptance in hesitations. You realize you don't need a mask to feel safe. Authenticity is the new currency. Your dialogues become deeper, more meaningful. Here there is a sense of belonging that you have never experienced before. It is as if every exchanged word is a brick in the construction of a new emotional home, where everyone can be exactly who they are. And in this space you begin to flourish. Every little act of courage accumulates into a solid foundation. You allow yourself to explore old passions that had become irrelevant. The art you abandoned, the writing you stopped, the dreams that lay dormant. By revisiting these parts of yourself, you reconnect with an intensity you did not know, and this makes your heart vibrate. You express without fear. Every brushstroke or word becomes an extension of who you are. Discover that your voice is powerful when it is not subordinated to the gaze of others. You redefine what it means to be seen. When someone praises you, you accept without reluctance. When criticisms arise, you observe. You don't absorb, but you analyze. Here you come to understand that someone else's perception cannot define or unravel your worth. Criticism is a perspective, not an absolute judgment. This new understanding creates a circle of confidence. You allow yourself to make mistakes. Each mistake is an opportunity for growth, not a sign of weakness. You start laughing at the small imperfections, the insecurities that once disturbed your sleep. Life becomes an instinctive dance. The steps don't need to be perfect. However, the intention behind each movement resonates with authenticity. You flow and everything seems easier. The worries dissolve. As you move forward, the transformation reflects not only in you, but in how you influence those around you. People begin to notice the difference. Without meaning to, you become a beacon of authenticity. Your energy attracts others who seek to free themselves from the weight of expectation. You create an invisible network of support. But there are still shadows. Moments of weakness infiltrate. Days when you wonder if you are going in the right direction. This is part of the process. You realize that doubt is not a sign of failure, but an ally that helps you reassess your path. At that moment, an idea arises. To see vulnerability not as weakness but as an invitation to genuine connection. This change in perspective transforms difficult days into growth opportunities. You no longer fear exposure. The pain of rejection becomes a reminder of your capacity to overcome. The layers of insecurity are peeled away, and you find yourself naked, but strong. There is a shine in your honesty. Those who truly matter see it, and you learn to embrace yourself, accepting every facet of who you are. Reality has already been presented. Your story is not defined by others. What matters now is how you choose to live it, and that choice once again is in your hands.